Good afternoon, I'm Frankie Arnold here talking about a significant severe weather outbreak that's going to affect much of the upper Midwest region, Great Lakes region, Sunday afternoon to evening. We're going to have a very warm, unstable air mass, very unseasonably warm. Temperatures Sunday afternoon will climb well into the 80s in areas along and south of Interstate 80. It's not out of the question to see a couple of 90 or maybe even low 90 degree readings Sunday afternoon, but area-wide mid to upper 80s look quite probable. Dew points could reach into the the lower and middle 70s, and not only will that feel very summer-like, I mean, we could have a heat index up into the middle and upper 90s around here, and that is absolutely unheard of for early April. It's more typical of midsummer along the immediate Gulf Coast of Florida, not early spring across the Great Lakes and mid-Mississippi valleys. Just absolutely record-breaking warmth. I mean, this could be all-time high temperatures we're talking about if we hit the 90-degree mark. The highest temperature ever recorded in April in this area was 90 degrees. So if we hit that, it's an all-time record we could be breaking. This combined with this very strong cold front coming in from Iowa and Missouri Sunday afternoon, well, a dry line, this is very important. This is going to be called a triple point. When you get all three fronts to meet together, the cold front, warm front, and the dry line, that's called a triple point, and that's when you get a big tornado outbreak, and tornadoes could be very strong and very long track. We're not talking about little weak tornadoes that just touch down for a couple seconds. We're talking about tornadoes that stay on the ground for 30 minutes or longer, and they could be bigger than an EF0. I mean, we could be talking several EF3 to EF5 tornadoes with this setup. I cannot stress enough, this is nothing you should be laughing over. It is not funny. It is something that you need to take extremely serious. It could be the worst severe weather outbreak in our area in 20 years, and we have a high risk for severe weather, which has not happened in over 6 years around here. So in the last time we had a dry line come up into northern Illinois and northwestern Indiana was 20 years ago. We had a Plainfield tornado, Plainfield, Illinois, and that killed several people and caused a lot of damage. And it was rated an an F5 at that time. It would be rated an EF5, enhanced Fujita, at this time. So, this being said, with this setup, we're going to have very strong wind shear at the lower levels, which means the winds will be coming from the southeast at the low levels, but the upper levels will be coming from the west or northwest, and that's very strong wind shear. We could also have a jet stream that splits right across our area. That suggests more enhanced lift and more potential for severe thunderstorms. So we are right in the worst area you could possibly be in this situation in the warm sector. And this air mass will not be capped. That's one of the crucial things to get thunderstorm development. If you don't have a cap present, which is warm air aloft, thunderstorms can't do explode. I mean, you get a colder air aloft, thunderstorms tend to rise. They rise only if that's what updrafts are. They rise only if the air above them is colder than they are, and it can't rise if there's a cap. But again, that will not be present, so thunderstorms will probably develop fairly early Sunday, probably 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon across Iowa, Missouri, and Arkansas, and then quickly become severe as they move into our area late Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening. By midnight, the severe weather potential will begin to diminish, but not before we get slammed by either tornadoes, large hail and damaging winds, or what is more likely right now, a huge derecho. This thing could form into a fast-moving squall line that could produce 100-mile-per-hour winds along the front. So it's very dangerous. We don't even have to get tornadoes for this situation to be extremely dangerous. You get a 100-mile-an-hour straight-line wind, and it can do as much damage as a weak to moderate tornado. So we're concerned about everything. Whether we get tornadoes, hail, or damaging winds, everything, all the threats are there, and we're concerned about every single one of them. Even if we didn't have the tornadoes in the setup, we would be just as concerned as we are right now. So take this serious. Have a plan of action Sunday afternoon, because it's going to be deceiving. It's going to be sunny in the early afternoon, and it's going to get very hot and humid. It's going to feel like a mid-July day, and everybody's going to be outside enjoying it. Well, not too long afterwards, severe weather will be imminent and very threatening. And here's the scope of the severe weather, not just in our area Sunday. That says late Saturday. That will probably be across Iowa and into northern Illinois Saturday night. Maybe some large hail and isolated damaging wind, but by far Sunday will be the biggest threat. I'm not too concerned about Saturday night because by the time the storms get here, they'll probably be in a weakening phase. But that being said, we could have a few isolated marginal severe hail and maybe a couple of isolated damaging wind gusts. But again, it's going to be a widespread severe weather event that will last into Monday across the southeast and produce the same severe weather we'll get in our area. And it could be very widespread and quite damaging, so you're going to want to pay attention to that. And lastly, but certainly not least, heavy rainfall, a big threat with this system. We're getting heavy thunderstorms Thursday evening into early Friday. Another bout possible Friday night into early Saturday, and also Saturday night, and then another heavy rain event likely Sunday afternoon with these thunderstorms that come through. So by the time everything's said and done, we could see between 3 and 5 inches of rain across the area, and that could cause flash flooding problems. So we got all of the above: tornadoes, large hail, damaging winds, and and heavy rainfall that could lead to flash flooding. So it's a serious situation. It could be one of the worst severe weather outbreaks, if not the worst, in 20 years. So as funny as that might sound, it's very serious. I mean, all these conditions are coming together, and if you don't have a capped air mass, you are certain to get explosive severe weather development. So this is not something that is a potential to happen. It's something that is going to happen. It's just a matter of when. We're not exactly 100% sure on when the thunderstorms will develop, but when they do, they're going to develop instantly and become severe quite rapidly. So stay tuned to later forecasts and statements issued by the National Weather Service or other media sources, and make alternative plans for Sunday evening if you have any in place, and be aware of this severe weather.